Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai Bahasham Rakaha Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles, double honors to the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. The would-be judges, the 144,000, 12,000 men from each of the 12 tribes of Israel who are to be the judges here on earth in the new heaven, which will be here on earth, as it says in Revelation. I saw a new heaven coming down. All right, that 144,000 will enforce the laws of heaven, like it says in the Lord's Prayer, on earth as it is in heaven. They will enforce the laws of the Lord, who the world fraudulently and falsely calls Jesus Christ. His name is Yahushai. They will enforce the laws of heaven under the authority of Yahushai. All right, and the Father, Yahweh. And to the rest of the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, whom Yahweh is sending Yahushai back to collect them up via the angels, to gather them up from among the heathen that have the appearance of the heathen, the Israelite foreigners, the speckled birds, all right, and to the few Akwaf that are listening and learning. This is an Israelite thing, not a so-called black thing or color thing. The Israelites were scattered among all people, and the Lord is coming back to gather them up. They have not been gathered yet. They're imposters in the land of Israel. As a matter of fact, they are the nation of Edom, which is prophesied in the Bible to steal the land, to take the land of the Lord in Ezekiel 36th chapter. But let's go to the book of Revelation, because we're going to talk about prophecy here. All right. And so you go to the last book in the Bible, and the Lord gives you the breakdown of everything you need to know. All right, as far as the end days are concerning. Revelation 19:10, and it reads, "And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, See thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren, and have the testimony of Yahushai. Worship God, for the testimony of Yahushai is a spirit of prophecy." All right. And it tells you in Amos 3:7. All right. Let's go to it real quick. Amos 3:7. It reads, "Surely the Lord power would do nothing, but he revealeth his secret to his servants, the prophets. The Lord set up men on earth to prophesy against the great kingdoms." Let's get that. Jeremiah 28:8. The main camp opens with this scripture weekly on its street teachings. And it reads, "The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries, against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence." So we're warning you and prophesying the evil, the wickedness, and the pestilence, which is upon Babylon and upon the world, because the Lord is about to make his return in the midst of this World War III, in the midst of the MOTB, all right? The midst of the charagma, of the forced, the thing that's going to eventually be forced into your body via your hand or your forehead, and you won't be able to buy or sell. And I'm going to play this video, all right? As a matter of fact, let me get the, let me read the Section 107 disclaimer, copyright disclaimer. Let's go ahead and read it real quick. Give me a second. Here we go. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purpose such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. So copyright statute has been declared. This is Jimmy Dore with his guest, or I don't know if he was guest on the show, but he was just playing a clip from Steve Bannon and why Steve Bannon terrifies the establishment. All right, so I'm gonna play about probably about 5 minutes of this video. All right, and I'm gonna start around the 40-second mark and let it play all the way up to about the 6-minute mark. All right, And this part is important to hear because he gives a thorough breakdown of the collapse of the system and how it's purposely being done in order to bring in this new system of biometrics control, all right, through your money system, right? Because now you want, all your freedoms, including the freedom, including your illusional freedom of speech, will be monitored and controlled by this. Esau Edom trying to be godlike. He's trying to establish his on earth in his own image. All right. So here we go.
I don't give you any interest. Why can't watch this? Just watch this.
We live in neo-feudalism. This is not capitalism. This is where you have a underclass, right? A lumpen proletariat almost is taken care of by the state. You have the very wealthy, and you have this kind of neo-feudalist working class and middle class in the middle that pays for everything.
Neo-feudalism. All right. That's a heavy, I'm going to start, Lord's will, put it on my spirit to remember that term and start using it. Okay? Remember that term.
And the guys at the top, we've socialized the risk, that $1 trillion of infusion, right? Remember.
He's talking about how they socialize the risks, meaning Wall Street, banks, they've socialized the risks and they privatize the profits. So when they're making all their gambling casino bets and they called it derivatives and they called it subprime mortgages and they were making billions and billions of dollars off that, they got to keep it. And then as soon as that went belly up, which we all knew it would, we had to bail them out. So he's saying that they've now socialized the risks. That's what he's talking about. He's talking about the billionaires who run the world. Okay, here we go.
The balance sheet of the Federal Reserve on the morning of September 18th.
Salakia, let me go ahead and read this. Feudalism. And they broke it down into 2 words. And this is from Etymology Online, so you can look it up for yourself. All right. But this is feudalism. As you can see, I'm reading it from my phone. All right. So, but the origin of feudalism, coinage, historians attested in 1783, see feudal plus ism, attested 1736. So it says, as pertaining to feuds, estates, and lands granted by a superior on condition, is making someone superior. So if they're superior, there has to be the opposite, inferior. That would be the citizens. All right. On condition of services to be rendered by the grantor. See, they're granting you from the medieval Latin feudalis, from feudum, feudal estate, land granted to be held as benefice, or Germanic origin. All right, those Temanites, those Edomites. Cognates, Gothic fahu property, Old High German fihu, cattle. Related to Middle English feudary, one who holds lands of an overlord, is an exchange for services not related to feud. All right. And then it breaks down ism. Okay. Matter of fact, I'll put it up and you can screenshot it. Okay, and I'll read it. Screenshot. All right, it says word forming element nouns implying practice system doctrine like Christianism. All right, that's why Vocab Malone, who completely ignores the rest of Christianity for the most part, except for the Bible Belt Christians, they acknowledge the MOTB, Revelation 13, but they sure don't acknowledge the kingdom of heaven being here on earth. They don't acknowledge that what they've done is going to be done unto them. That's all prophecy. Okay? And that America is Babylon the Great, clearly through prophecy and scripture. Stevie Wonder could see that. But it says, word forming element making nouns implying practice system, doctrine, etc. from French. Ism directly from Latin. Ism, a source of Italian, Spanish, Dutch, German. All these Edomites countries, or countries that Edomites took over from melanated people before Jake took it over from them after the fall of Rome. All right, you know, the fraudulent history. You know, they love to hide the fact that the Israelites, so-called Negroes, ruled all of Europe for 1,000 years after the fall of Rome. All right, so most of those churches and castles that you like to go visit, and you know, from Spain, Portugal, Britain, Scotland, Ireland, England, Czechoslovakia, Eastern Europe, Western Eurasia, Eastern Eurasia, all those places were built up by so-called black people in that 1,000-year reign that they had after the fall of Rome that they try to cover up. And what does that do? The Vikings were not white. All right, they love to, you know. But anyway, the verb forming element denoting doing, noun or adjective in which attached for distinction, the related Greek. And then it has these other words connected to it. Chivalry, the modern code of medieval feudalism. Wow, never knew that. A sense, structure, a sense that might be building materials or access a building system, the whole erection, the universe, the Latin systema or an arrangement, urban, characteristic of city life pertaining to cities, compromise, a joint promise to abide by arbitrator's decision, and that's the one. This is the compromise where you have to, then the arbitrators are the wealthy, and they're leaving, just like George Collins said, it's a big club and you're not a part of it. They're using the people and then forcing the people to pay for their error through taxation.
2008, when they're in the Oval Office talking, is $880 billion.
He's talking about right before the crash. So when they got rid of Glass-Steagall, they started doing they turned investment banking into casino hopping, and they did all the BS subprime mortgage stuff, which was garbage, which they all knew was going to crash. And when it did crash, at that time, what was the balance sheet of the Federal Reserve? Let me back it up.
2008, when they're in the Oval Office talking, is $880 billion. The balance sheet of the Federal Reserve on January 17th or January 20th of 2017, when Donald Trump raises his hand, is $4.5 trillion.
Damn.
The most progressive president in the history of our country, President Obama, saved the wealthy. And here's how they did it. They just turned on the taps of liquidity. We call it, the technical term is quantitative easing. Mm. The not technical term is called bailing out the people who are guilty. Okay? So essentially, if you owned anything, you had the greatest 10-year run in history.
Wait.
Yeah.
Let's move to the TARP vote and whether you think, so now all of that is happening.
You have to do TARP. The first one you have to do.
Yeah.
You know why? Your fiduciary, when a guy like Bernanke walks in and says, I need $1 trillion, right? You don't have time to debate. History's going to look at you. And he says, the American financial system is going to collapse in 72 hours, and the world financial system 2 days after that, you have global anarchy. There's not a person on earth. I don't hear.
That's definitely going to, and that's how it's going to happen, all right? And he's going to give you some more facts, but let me read the scripture now that he said that. Okay, because you this may be going fast for some of you, so you have to go back and watch it a couple times and really listen. All right. But yeah, Babylon will fail, and then the global system will fail right behind it. All right, we are definitely entering the times of Jacob trouble, and it's going to cause some serious problems here in Babylon and around the world, every place where Basra is, because all Edomite systems are connected directly or indirectly to Babylon. So the fall of the dollar is basically a worldwide collapse. It's section Ezra 15 and 14. And it reads, Woe to the world of them that dwell therein, for the sword in their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city, and shall not be able. For because of their pride the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and great tribulation. Because it's tribulation, people are going to begin to prey on each other. People who were once neighbors are going to actually attack and kill each other. And all this failure in policy and failure in government is what's going to bring this on. And in that chaos, all right, they're going to introduce you to the MOTB, and we're getting to that. So here we go.
Hear these libertarians and all these, free market, let capitalism take place.
Yeah.
No. When they come in and ask for the first trillion in an emergency, I believe you have to say, okay, we got to do it. I don't know what went on here, but if you're telling me this is going to save me, at least get down the road, I'll do it. But remember, that's the first trillion. We kept on for another.
So basically, when they bailed out all the wealthy Edomites in America, the too big to fail, going back to 2008, what they did was they robbed the lower class and the middle class, the workforce. All right, they basically robbed them. Okay, and then they kept doing it, and now it's we'll let them expose the juicy part. Here we go.
The $3.5 trillion.
Yeah.
$3.5 trillion. This is just bailing out the people that caused the problems.
Yep.
Got to think about it for a second. Goldman Sachs didn't lose any equity. None of the partners really missed any bonus payments. None of GE still in business.
So they kept their mansions, their yachts, their getaway homes, their island homes, their islands. They built their bunkers. They kept all their assets while everyone else has been struggling ever since.
AIG, it all still exists. All the donors. Okay, the reverse side of this, remember, there is a corollary to this. It's quite powerful. And we know from the notes of the Federal Reserve, a guy named Richard Fisher, the president of the Federal Reserve of Dallas, argued this in the room constantly. He said, by doing this quantitative easing, which is just flooding the zone with liquidity, we will save the institutions. And we will save anybody that's a big real estate holder or hedge fund or bank. But he said, there's a huge reverse here. Number one, savings accounts, you're going to go to zero interest rates.
Yep.
Savings accounts are going to go to zero. So 5,000 years of the Western tradition back to the Marty Bannons, which is be a good householder.
So basically, saving money, it used to be that you save money, you got interest on your bank account. And sometimes if you save enough money, you can live off that interest. You got people who have old slave money, old money from the oppression that happened in early America up to now, and they're living off the interest of that. Just for an example. But now it makes no sense. Most people don't have money to save, and if you do, the banks use your money to make more money, but yet you don't get the interest or the benefit from making money off your money, nor is your money safe. So it's a lose-lose situation for everyone else, which is going to help bring on this anarchy. And they're going to control the anarchy with, the MOTB. Well, here we go.
Get a wife, get a mortgage, get some kids, and you save your money. Well, now if you save money, you're a sucker because it's broken the trust. That's the trust is broken. If you save money, you're a jerk because you're not going to get any interest pay. In fact, the bank's going to charge you. So there's been you can't put money away to save into the system. Number two, the pension funds. The pension funds are going to be destroyed. Today, we have a $9.5 trillion gap between the obligations of the pension funds and what we've earned off the pension funds. Why? Because
So if you think that your pension from being a police officer, your pension from being your 20 plus years or your 20 years or more in the military, that your pension from being a fireman or a mail person, a bus driver, whatever it is, if you think you're going to live off your pension, you are sadly mistaken. This shit is over. America is fucked. All right? And what's all this and this is gonna cause complete and total chaos once the masses figure this out or begin to feel the effects from it. All right, so I'm gonna play a couple videos and bring out some more scriptures but this is matter of fact, let me bring out a scripture now, man, because this is oppression. Wicked oppression. This is James. The book of James 2 and 16 and 6. Yeah, and it says, and it reads, but ye have despised the poor. Do not rich men oppress you and draw you before the judgment seats? Yeah, they do that. They draw you before the judgment seats and demand payments from you after they've put you in a position where you can't earn money or pay them anyway, so that they can make you a perpetual debt slave or throw you in prison and get free labor from you that way. Because America established a system that kept slavery legal. All right, if you get criminalized in any way, all right. Which they, and why do you think that Jake is so imbalanced? This imbalance of so-called black and brown people that are in the prison system. That's not by accident. That's by design. Okay. So but yeah, let me go ahead and show these two videos. And yeah, these are from the beloved April O'Neil. This came from her sources, but here we go. Now this woman, now before I play it, she tells the truth, yet she goes off. Because, you know, this chick, Ashley needs to really, she's that Christianism, man. All right. But, you know, how our beloved Apostle Elder Gabar often says, even a broken clock is right twice a day. All right. So Ashley gets it right every now and then. But here we go.
Video about this yesterday. I prayed over it. I sat on it overnight, and something in my spirit just kept battling with me, kept telling me to play it safe.
Because she's been told to stop teaching. She's not covering her head. She's always trying to teach and claiming and screaming to be a Christian, but yet not following what's written in the Bible. And that's in the New Testament, for her to cover her head and for a woman not to teach, not to usurp the authority over the man. And it tells you in the Bible, the Lord didn't give them understanding. So she's often breaks down prophecies. Well, she breaks down prophecies completely and totally wrong. All right. But she does get the MOTB, the mark of the beast, correct. She does. Got to give her credit on that one. But here we go.
So I'm going to do just that, and I'm not going to talk about this like I would like to. What I will say, though, is that we are watching the foundation be laid for Revelation 13:16 to play out. We are in a period of time right now where we are watching the foundation for everything be put into place. We are watching the infrastructure be put into place for the third temple. We are watching the setup, the chess pieces, if you will, being moved into place for a global system to take effect.
The third temple are the lively stones, the Israelite men who are waking up. But that clearly goes over her head because she lacks understanding. All right.
And that's exactly what is needed for this to be able to come to life, for this to be fulfilled. We have to have a global platform in order for all people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hands or on their foreheads. I do also want to address the fact that there are so many people in my comment section that actually believe that either our phones or some form of technology or what happened in 2020 was this. So let's take a look at scripture, because there is clearly a misunderstanding of what this actually is. Verse 15, the second beast, who is the false prophet, was given power to give breath to the image of the first beast, of the Antichrist. So there's going to be an image of the Antichrist, so that the image could speak and cause all who...
This is talking about the beast system, not a particular individual. All right. And the head of the beast is America. America is the whore that rides the beast. The beast system is the EU and NATO. All right. Okay. The first beast was the Roman Empire. All right. So this is a continuation of it. Okay.
Refuse to worship the image to be killed. It also forced all people, great and small, rich and poor.
You even have the rabbis telling you that America is a continuation of Rome. All right. I've done videos not that long ago, over the last couple months, with all these rabbis telling you that Western Christianism, Catholic, the Catholic Church, and European Western Christianism is Esau, is Esau, is Esau, Edom. All right.
enslaved to receive a mark on their right hands or on their foreheads. So along with the implementation of the mark, you will be required to bow down and worship the Antichrist. And if you do not, if you refuse both of these things, you are going to be taken out. Y'all, this is going to be an intentional, moral, and conscious decision on every single person's part when they line up to agree to receive the mark, when they line up to agree to worship. That is going to be an intentional, conscious decision. Here it is, to worship Satan.
And she's right on that part. All right. And Satan mean the adversary, the human adversary. Esau, Edom setting up an image in himself. All right. It's not talking about the spiritual, the spiritual, the left-hand side angel, Satan, who's the son of God as well. Job, the 1st and 2nd chapter makes it very clear when the Lord called the sons of God to the meeting, and Satan came also. Why? Because he's the son of God. Duh. Thought he was kicked out of heaven, dummies. All right, so here's the next one. And how they're going to set the system up that Ashley was speaking about? Through biometrics. All right, because all this chaos is going to come, and then this is the solution to bring peace and control back into the earth and back into the country, blah, blah, blah. This is what they plan to do.
Biometric entry-exit visa tracking system, which we need desperately. For years, Congress has required biometric entry-exit visa tracking systems, but it has never been completed. The politicians are all talk, no action, never happens, never happens. Hillary Clinton, all talk. Unfortunately, when there is action, it's always the wrong decision. Do you ever notice? In my administration, we will ensure that this system is in place. And I will tell you, it will be on land, it will be on sea, it will be in air. We will have a proper tracking system.
Whitney Webb says, hope Trump supporters, this is again January 17th of this year, hope Trump supporters will soon catch on to how the virtual border wall being built by companies backed by Peter Thiel on Bilderberg's steering committee is meant to serve as a Trojan horse for digital ID by requiring not just foreigners entering the U.S., but any American traveling abroad to submit to a digital biometric entry exit system. So, I think what happened here is that a lot of people saw that there was chaos at the border under Biden, and so they voted for mass deportations thinking, well, this sounds kind of simple and the case seems kind of open and shut, right? If someone is here illegally, that means they're not supposed to be here. How can you possibly argue against taking them from where they're not supposed to be and putting them in their home country where they are supposed to be, right? How could you argue against that? It's an open and shut case. It's simple, right? Except in reality, it's very often not that simple. What if you don't know exactly who the person is or where to send them? Then you got to find a place to send them, right? In the meantime, what do you got to do? You have to hold them, right? Because they're not supposed to be here and you can't find where to put them, then you got to build a jail for them, right? So right there, you're talking about mass deportations. You can't have mass deportations at that point without mass incarceration, because in order to figure out where these people are going, you need a place to keep them, and in the interim, they're going to be in jail.
And see, and there it is. So that covers a couple things, and we'll wrap up with some scriptures there, because that's where the Revelation 2 and 10 comes into place. They're going to be locking a lot of people up, including Israelites, especially the Israelites, those who believe on the gospel of Yahushua. And it reads, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, that ye may have tribulation 10 days. Will be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So some of us are going to be martyrs. He talked about how he saw the souls of them that will be beheaded. Going back about 2014, 15, or 16, somewhere around that time, when America bought those 30,000 guillotines. You got all these guillotines, and what do you think they're for? And why do you think they want to? They're going to behead you, and they're going to behead people, and the people that are healthy, they're going to harvest their organs. All right, you know this man's way. Never let a good crisis go to waste. All right. So if you got to kill 1,000 people and, and half of those people are healthy, there you go. They got all kind of body parts. The chop shop. All right. This man going to put those bodies on ice, start hacking them up and taking all their stuff. All right. So, so this system is being put in place right before your eyes, man. And what system is that? Well, go to Revelation 13. And she said it, but I'll read it. Starting in verse 16. And it says, and he calls of all, small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a charagma. All right, that's how it's said in the Greek. That's the word that's actually there. In English, it's another word. But it says a charagma in their right hand or in their foreheads, meaning something is injected into you. All right. And that no man may buy or sell save he that have the mark and the name of the BESAT or the number of his name. All right. And this is a system set up by Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, Satan. All right. The adversary, which is Satan. All right. But just like Yahushua, who the world fraudulently calls Jesus Christ, has a people here on earth to do his will, Satan also had a people on earth to do his will, and those people are labeled the wicked in the Bible. All right. And those people are traced to the nation of Edom, which is why Christianism told you the lie that they were done away with, that there were no more Edomites, which was a complete lie. And now you got, Christianism pointing fingers at each other, looking like the Spider-Man meme. The Christians are pointing at the Khazars, and the Khazars are pointing at the Christians, and they're calling each other Edom. When the truth of the matter is, they're all Edom. They're both Edom. All right. So with that, I'm going to give all praises, all honor and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakaha Kwadash, Kwam Yasharala, Abad Babal.